What is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here to talk about the 7-game NBA main slate on Monday. If it's your first time watching, welcome. Again, we'll be talking about the NBA slate, also make content for NFL DFS as well as for Prize Picks. Prize Picks, they are the sponsor of the video. You can use the code DKDFS for a 100% match up to $100. If you're not familiar with Prize Picks, it is a player prop site where you can pick 2, 3, 4, up to 5 player props and win up to 10x your money. They have a lot of different sports, NFL, college sports, esports, NBA. So if you guys want to give it a try, make sure to use the code DKDFS. Again, that'll give you a 100% match up to $100. And if you're looking for more in-depth content, I do have my Patreon link down below. A lot of different packages, NBA, NFL, Prize Picks package. So check it out if you're interested. And yeah, I have nothing to recap. If you missed the video yesterday, my account's still currently restricted. Just a withdrawal thing. I had my old address when I tried to withdraw. So currently restricted. Hopefully, I can get unrestricted soon because I would like to play on Draftkings. So I'm currently like your stereotypical DFS tout where, you know, I'm charging people for advice and I'm not playing myself. Okay. A lot of those guys out there. But yeah, so I have nothing to recap really. So let's just jump into this video and start talking about the slate. 7 games. We'll start off with Charlotte and Orlando. So Charlotte, Dennis Smith Jr. is doubtful. So we'll keep an eye on it, but don't expect him to play. LaMelo Ball in his first game back, they did limit him to 28 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on the news. If there's no limitations for LaMelo, then I have interest in him at this price point. If he's still going to be limited, I'll pass. With LaMelo back, kind of makes Rozier a secondary option. Kelly Oubre's minutes have ticked way up of late, which really tilts me. I've talked about that a couple times now. I played him a lot early in the season, full team out, and he just would always just play 25, 30 minutes. But now he's continuously playing like 35 plus minutes. It just really, really tilts me. But he's solid in the mid-range. He's a guy that will shoot when he's out there. Plumlee, Richards, these guys will split the center minutes. The minutes have ticked up a bit on Plumlee of late. 32, 39, 27 minutes over the last 3 games. But Nick Richards is still playable at 38. I mean, he played 21 minutes off the bench. So the 2 centers are both fine. I do think Plumlee, though, plays a bit more. Washington, kind of just last man in. He's struggled a bit of late, but still should see, 30-plus minutes. And then McDaniels, he's a guy that kind of a glue for this team. He can play a lot of different positions. I think we probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 minutes from him, which makes him a decent value. Also has small forward, power forward eligibility. Moving on to Orlando. So the big news here is Banchero is currently questionable, but he went through practice, so I'm fully expecting him to play. If he does play, kind of hard to prioritize anyone. A lot of these guys are priced up from when Banchero missed. So, yeah, a little bit tricky. Banchero himself at 8.7, assuming no limitations, probably would be my favorite play in the Magic, but he's getting to a price point where it's like, all right, it's not super cheap anymore. He's almost $9,000. Carter, Franz, they're both secondary plays, assuming Banchero plays. My boy, Bull, I mean, when he gets minutes, you can see what he can do, but his minutes have been a bit shaky. He's nothing more than a GPP play. Jalen Suggs, he's been a little bit up and down, but Banchero back, he probably does lose some usage there. Shumo Kiki started last game. He played 30 minutes, but again, with Banchero back, he should shift back to the bench role, which makes him overpriced. Mo Bamba has seen a little bit of a minutes increase of late. He's a good point per minute guy. He's playable in tournaments, but again, last game was a blowout. All right, Toronto and Detroit. So Toronto, no Siakam, no Van Fleet, no Precious Achiuwa. So last game, Toronto started Barnes, OG, Trent, Boucher, and Otto Porter. So the top end guys, I don't know if there's any priorities. I will say, I saw a lot of people tilting Gary Trent Jr. 1 of 13. I probably would have played him that night, but I was unable to play myself. But more often than not, you're probably going to get 30 plus minutes from Trent, which does make him a solid option. He'll probably be relatively low owned after burning a lot of people last game. OG and Scotty Barnes. I think they're both decent options. I would prefer Barnes, I think, to OG, who's just doing more of the ball handling. But OG just continues to get like 3-4 blocks and steals a game. So, yeah, the main guys look good. And then Chris Boucher, my boy, whenever this guy gets minutes, he produces. It's just a matter of will the minutes be there. But last couple games, 31, 28 minutes. So I do like the upside a lot in Chris Boucher in tournaments. Don't really know if you can make him a cash game play because the minutes are all over the place. 22, 14, 13, 31, and 28 minutes over the last 5 games. But yeah, if they start the same lineup again, I like Otto Porter and I like Thad Young. You saw 27 minutes for Otto Porter. He's like about a point per minute guy. And then Thad Young started at the 5, played 34 minutes. So, it's not super exciting plays, but yeah, if they start again, I'm fine firing up some Otto and Thad Young. Koloko did get a little bit banged up. Only played 6 minutes. So keep an eye on his status. He did go to the locker room last game, but ended up returning. And then if you want to take like a shot on like Banton or Flynn, Hernan Gomez in tournaments, you can, but those guys are a lot riskier. Moving on to Detroit. So still no Cade Cunningham. Corey Joseph status up in the air as well. Jaden Ivey, 6'2", played 34 minutes. Again, the first game without Cade Cunningham was super tilting when he played 25 minutes. But yeah, he should be the primary playmaker. Up for 26, 4, and 3 last game. I still think he is a bit underpriced, so I do like Ivy. This next group of like the wings, like Bojan, Stewart, Bay, they all look fine. There's no priorities. Bojan's had a couple of games of late, but you've seen a few big games of Sadiq Bay. Last couple have been frustrating for him. Stewart's been up and down, so like that group is always just like looks the same to me. They're fine filler options. Marvin Bagley also back in the mix, which kind of makes these guys a little riskier. Killian Hayes started last game. He did play 35 minutes. If Killian Hayes starts again, I do really like him. Again, he's struggled efficiency-wise this season, but he's relatively high-usage player when he's out there, so I'm perfectly fine going to Killian Hayes if he starts again at 4.4. Probably not going to mess with anything else. Maybe some of Alec Burks again. With Alec Burks back, he played 25 minutes in his first game. I think we can expect similar run for him, so he's playable, but probably not going to go to anything else. Oklahoma City and Boston, so the Thunder, wild game. I was like really rattled too. I was doing my NFL stream, and I look, and I was like, NBA game's almost at halftime. Like, what time did this game start? It was just like wild that Oklahoma City New York game started at like 11 a.m. Central. But yeah, Shea feels a bit too pricey, too underpriced. Boston hasn't really been the same defensive team of late, and I like some Shea at 8.9K. And then Josh Giddey feels a bit too cheap as well. Played 37 minutes last game, not in overtime. So if you get like mid-30s minutes from Giddey, he's definitely too cheap. So the 2 guards for Oklahoma City, I do like. The rest, hard to prioritize anyone. Lou Dort's always just there. Baisley, Trey Mann status up in the air. If you want to take some shots like Pokusevski, Williams, Aaron Wiggins, you can. I will mention JRE, played 31 minutes last game, but be careful. That's all I'm going to say. It's not, you can play the secondary Thunder. You can. All I'm going to say is be careful. There's no rhyme or reason for the minutes. So, if JRE does pick up a lot of ownership tomorrow, like that would be one where I'd be fine fading just because he could very easily start and play like 15 minutes. So, on the Boston side, still no Brogdon, but we do have Jaylen Brown and Al Horford back. So, top end guys, Tatum and Brown. I prefer Brown to Tatum. Tatum got priced up last game with Jaylen Brown missing, so I do like some Jaylen Brown there at that price point. Smart and Horford are both decent options in the mid-range. Neither are priorities, but they're both relatively safe plays. 6-1 for Smart, 5-4 for Horford. Grant Williams, Derek White feel a bit overpriced. Again, they got a pretty big price bump from when Jaylen Brown and Horford are out too. So those guys feel a bit overpriced. Don't really know if we have to go to anything else here from Boston with the guys like Hauser, Blake Griffin, Peyton Pritchard. So moving on to Phoenix, Miami. Phoenix, the big news is Chris Paul, still questionable. He practiced, but he said he's not sure if he's going to play tomorrow or not. So if he misses, obviously campaign going to start. Going to become still good value. Played 35 minutes last game and did lose minutes due to the blowout. I know Miami's solid defensively, but still would like campaign. Devin Booker would do more ball handling as well. His floor and ceiling would go up. Bridges just playing massive minutes right now. He should play like 40-ish minutes. He's a decent option in the mid-range. DeAndre Ayton's been a little bit frustrating of late, but 6.2K is a relatively cheap price point for him. If you want to go to Torrey Craig at 39, it's doable. He played 35 minutes last game. Not a high usage player, but should get a decent amount of run for this team. And then if there's no Chris Paul, you probably get some decent backup run for Damian Lee at 3-3. As a dart thrower in large field tournaments, it's doable. On the Miami side, so Tyler Hero questionable. Let me just say this. I have like 3/4, like 75% of my best ball team is just injured. I have Drew Holiday, I have Hero, I have Porzingis miss a game. I have, who else? I can't even think right now. Literally like over half my team is injured. Like one season, guys. Not one slate. One season, I'll ask. Yeah, literally, I'm just like, well, that's probably money down the drain because I can't even field a lineup in best ball because everyone's injured from me. But and that's no surprise, right? Because no one runs worse. But yeah, Hero status up in the air. Well, come on, we got to start here. We got to start here. I need a sip of water. Mm-hmm. Max Strus. Maximus Strus. I mean, did I not tell you this would happen? So if you guys are not, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I played Max Strus here at low ownership against Charlotte. Literally the same matchup. 40 minutes, 19 fantasy points. The next night, same matchup, 45 fantasy points, 31 real life points. With Hero out, you would get Strus in the starting lineup. If I fade, then he's going for 50. If I play, he'll go for 0.3 fantasy points per minute. But the other starters, Jimmy, Bam, Lowry, would all look a little bit better. You would get more run, a bit more run for guys like Vincent, Martin. Duncan Robinson at 3.5 could be a potential punt play. He's seen over 20 minutes now in the last 3 games. If Tyler Hero's there and he plays, then there's really nothing that stands out. A lot of these Miami guys are priced up a bit from when Hero is out. So Hero news is huge. Atlanta and Milwaukee. So on the Atlanta side, the 2 guards are both solid tournament plays in Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. I would say neither are priority plays, but these guys should get a lot of run. So like both guards, Capella, Okongwu, they're splitting the center minutes. I do give the edge to Okongwu over Capella for the discount. John Collins, man, 15 fantasy points in 33 minutes when he's playing some backup 5. Can someone tell me how that's possible? He's probably going to smash tomorrow because of that. DeAndre Hunter's just there. Again, he's playing around 30 minutes, but not doing a ton offensively. And then there's the bench. I don't really want to get to the holidays. You're seeing a little bit of run for Johnson, a little bit of run for AJ Griffin, but they're mainly just playing their main guys a lot. On the Milwaukee side, again, Drew Holiday, my best ball team. That's the last 4 games. Giannis Antetokounmpo, though, is probable. So Giannis, I think, looks like a great spend up. If you have the salary, no Middleton most likely. I don't think he's going to be back yet. No Drew Holiday. So Giannis looks phenomenal there at the top. Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez priced up a bit from when both Drew and Giannis were out. So neither are priorities, but they're both viable options. Javon Carter should still start at the point guard position. He will obviously lose usage with Giannis in the lineup, but I still think he's playable. I don't think he's a smash play he was the first couple slates. And then a lot of these guys are overpriced from when, again, Drew and Giannis were out. Grayson Allen over 5K. I'm definitely not touching Beauchamp before 6. So not much else here for Milwaukee. Moving on to the Clippers and the Rockets. So no Kawhi, no John Wall. Paul George, good tournament play. Great matchup. He's been a bit up and down, but he's playing huge minutes. So I like some Paul George. I also like some Ivica Zubac if he can stay out of foul trouble. He should play, 30-plus minutes. So the top 2 guys look good. Morris, in competitive games, has been seeing 30-plus minutes. I think he's a decent option in the mid-range. No John Wall. Reggie Jackson should see over 30 minutes. He's been up and down, but 5.1K definitely makes him in play for tournaments. Norman Powell, this guy's been a frustrating roster this year, but his minutes have been a little bit more consistent of late, 28, 24, 27. This group of Kennard and Trey Mann are both fine values. Keep an eye on the starting lineup. They've been kind of switching it up. One game it's Kennard, one game it's Mann. Whoever starts, you're going to feel a little bit better about. Batum, 3-2. I mean, he'll probably play 15-ish minutes off the bench. I don't think it's necessary. And Covington's basically been out of the rotation. On the Houston side, so we actually do have one piece of news that's pretty important. Jalen Green's status up in the air. If he misses, they could do a lot of different things here. They could throw Garrison Matthews in the starting lineup. They could go a bit bigger, maybe throw Martin or Tariq in the starting lineup. So we will see what happens there if Jalen Green does miss. If he does miss, you're going to have, Kevin Porter Jr. and Sengun get a usage bump. Those guys would have to do more offensively. And I will say, I mentioned this last slate that the Rockets guards, the minutes have ticked up for both KPJ and Green. I mentioned, I was I don't mind getting to one of those Rockets guards in tournaments. And it was Jalen Green that had a really big game at low ownership. So if they're going to continue to play, close to 40 minutes, I obviously like both the guards. Sengun got in massive foul trouble last game, which is, obviously possible with him. He is prone to foul trouble, but he stays out of foul trouble. We know that ceiling. Jabari Smith had a good game last game, but you did have Sengun foul trouble, so I don't think we expect 15 rebounds again for Jabari Smith. You know what you're getting out of Eric Gordon, probably around 30 minutes. He's playable. Martin, Tari Eason off the bench, both decent options. Martin been playing mid-20s minutes. Tari Eason been productive in about 20 minutes or so off the bench, so those guys are both playable. And then, if Jalen Green misses, keep an eye on the starting lineup. They can go to Garrison Matthews. They could go to Josh Christopher too. They can do a lot of different things here, but yeah, that's it for Houston. So let's finish up with the last game here. That's the Spurs and the Warriors. And this game looks pretty appealing. And the Warriors play fast. They don't play a lot of defense. So the main 4 guys for the Spurs, I think, look pretty good. Keldon, Poeltl, Vassell, Trey Jones. I think my favorite of the bunch would be Keldon Johnson at 7-1. But Jakob Poeltl against this front court, I like him. I like Devin Vassell, who should get up a lot of shots and play 30-plus minutes. And Trey Jones, having the ball in his hands a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like here for the Spurs. So the main 4 guys I think look pretty good in Keldon, Poeltl, Vassell, Trey Jones. If you want to look to Jeremy Sochan at 4-1, I think that's viable. 28, 30 minutes over the last 3 games. He's just not doing a ton when he's out there. Off the bench, Jay Rich, 3-9, playable. He can play a few different positions. I don't mind him. Bassey's been really playing well off the bench. Again, last game was a blowout. I don't think we expect 4 blocks again. I just think I don't know if we can continue to get this type of performance from Charles Bassey. I played this guy multiple times in the summer league. He would average 0.5 fantasy points per minute. So this guy, he's not going to average 2-3 fantasy points per minute. So I'll let others chase Bassey, probably pass myself. And finally, the Warriors. So, I mentioned this today, but the Warriors are running a much tighter rotation. They're giving the starters a lot more run. And if this game stays competitive, I think the main 5 guys look good. So Steph Curry, 10-2, like him. Wiggins, Draymond, they should play big minutes. I think they're both pretty safe plays. Draymond, a guy that, can stuff a stat sheet. Wiggins has been their second best player. Jordan Poole, viable for tournaments. He's been up and down. Wouldn't call him a cash game play. Klay Thompson should see 30-plus minutes. He's only 5.7K. He knocks down his shots. He definitely feels, a bit underpriced. Kevon Looney, if he stays out of foul trouble, should see 25-ish minutes. So all the main Warriors, I think, look pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to mess with anything else. If I had to pick one bench guy, I think it would be DiVincenzo. He got in foul trouble last game, only played 16 minutes. I want to see how much he plays tonight. But again, they're giving their starters a lot of run. So not much interest in the Golden State bench. So that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. Again, if you have been enjoying the content, just make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. As always, appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.